Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're looking at some really interesting source material you sent us. It's all about, well, the third eye.
That's right. Specifically, an article called Third Eye Awakening, Signs and Practices.
Yeah, and it dives into what it might actually feel like if this third eye is starting to open up.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack what this particular source says about it. You know, where it's located, usually described as right between the eyebrows. And its significance, often seen as like a bridge, right, to spiritual dimensions, intuition, that kind of higher consciousness stuff.
And this article, it really stresses that this isn't just some abstract concept, according to its view.
No, not at all.
It claims an awakening can, deeply affect your actual everyday life.
How so?
Well, it talks about things like getting deeper insights, maybe different kinds of spiritual connections forming,
Okay.
making decisions that feel, wiser, more aligned,
Right.
and even sensing things others might miss, like potential danger ahead.
Interesting.
So the main thing we're doing in this deep dive, based on this source, is going through the 10 pretty intense and tangible signs it lists, signs that might mean your third eye is opening.
And the source really sets the stage for this. It doesn't paint it as just a gentle shift. It uses words like breathtaking, even soul-shaking.
Wow.
Yeah, like a divine awakening that happens kind of behind the scenes of normal perception if you're having these signs. So it's framed very dramatically.
Okay, well, let's get into it then. Let's look at what this source describes as the journey, starting with sign number 1,
All right.
which is a mysterious pressure or vibration in your forehead.
Okay, yeah. This comes up a lot in spiritual talk, and this article, it gets pretty specific.
Specific.
It describes it as like a strange pressure, maybe a soft kind of pulsing,
Right.
or even a warm buzzing feeling.
And right there, between the eyebrows.
Exactly, right in that spot. And the source is clear.
Yeah.
Don't just brush this off. It says it's one of the most common, clearest physical sensations linked to the third eye activating.
So it can start small, but get stronger.
That's what it says. It might be subtle at first, but then it can ramp up, sometimes feeling pretty intense, maybe even a bit overwhelming for a while.
And the article actually gives a reason why this might happen. Right?
It does. It suggests this feeling is actually energy converging there, gathering at the third eye center.
Like it's getting ready for something.
Yeah, preparing your mind and body to handle what the source calls an avalanche of new frequencies and cosmic information.
An avalanche, that's intense language.
It is. And I remember the source saying something really direct here, like, you're not going crazy, you're ascending.
Ah, okay. So it takes this potentially weird physical feeling and reframes it.
Exactly. Turns it from something maybe worrying into a sign of, like, spiritual growth or elevation.
It's fascinating how it connects a physical feeling directly to receiving information and raising your energy.
Yeah, it really grounds this abstract awakening idea in something you can actually feel in your body, like your physical self is part of the shift.
Okay, that leads us pretty smoothly into the second sign the source talks about.
Which is?
Seeing things others can't. This sounds like where it gets even more unusual.
Absolutely. This is where the source claims you might start perceiving things that, well, they just don't fit into everyday logic for most people.
Like what kind of things?
It mentions stuff like unexplained flashes of light or seeing moving orbs of light that aren't, actually there physically.
Or even just sensing.
Presences.
Yeah, sensing invisible presences. And the article notes that these experiences often pop up when you're quiet or calm.
Like during meditation, maybe?
Right, or just when you're relaxing, winding down.
And the source is pretty upfront that this can be, well, startling at first.
Oh, yeah. It acknowledges it can be jarring, maybe even scary, because it's outside our normal reality box.
But it offers some reassurance.
It does. It says that as your awareness grows, you'll start to understand you're actually glimpsing hidden dimensions of reality.
Hidden dimensions. And that, from the source's viewpoint, these visions are meant to guide your spiritual growth. It kind of encourages you to develop trust in these weird perceptions.
So it's really challenging the idea of what seeing even means.
Totally. The source isn't saying you're hallucinating. It's proposing there are real layers of reality that just become visible when your inner perception shifts.
Like your physical eyes aren't the whole story.
Exactly.
Okay, building on that idea of expanded perception. The third sign, according to this source, is heightened intuition, a sixth sense awakens.
Ah, intuition. This one might feel a bit more familiar, maybe, but the source describes it as being pretty powerful.
How so?
It talks about suddenly having this strong feeling of just knowing things,
Ah.
like with no logical steps to get there.
Knowing.
Yeah, maybe you accurately predict how something will turn out, or you get a really strong read on someone's intentions or feelings.
Or even, I think the source said, sensing thoughts.
Right. Sensing someone's thoughts before they speak, that's how it puts it. And it calls this heightened intuition a powerful spiritual radar.
It's a spiritual radar. I like that. And the source says this becomes really useful.
Incredibly valuable, it claims. It helps you navigate tricky decisions with, unusual clarity. It suggests this intuition can protect you, steer you away from trouble or negativity,
Okay.
and basically align you more closely with what it calls your soul's purpose. It's like your inner guide gets turned way up.
So according to the source, it's not just a vague gut feeling. It's more like a precise navigation system.
Yeah, a sophisticated internal system that's directly tied to this awakening process, giving you practical guidance for life, but also spiritual direction. It's about feeling empowered by what you know inside.
Got it. Okay, sign number 4 on this list from the source. Vivid, prophetic, and lucid dreams. Seems like your dream life gets a major shakeup.
Oh, definitely. The article says dreams stop feeling random or jumbled,
And become
more like loaded with meaning. They might show up as really clear messages or powerful symbols or even glimpses of what's coming.
like seeing the future in your dreams.
That's what it suggests. It mentions waking up with answers to problems you've been stuck on or having dreams that actually seem to play out in real life later on.
Wow. The article used some nice phrasing here, didn't it? Calling dreams a
portal to the unseen. Yeah, it's quite poetic.
It explains that your subconscious isn't just sorting through the day's events anymore.
Right. It's actively communicating with higher realms, as the source puts it.
And crucially, these dreams have info you can decode.
Yes, information to unlock deep self-knowledge and help your spiritual growth. It positions dreams as a conscious tool you can use.
So that ties back to the cosmic information from the first sign, potentially.
It seems like it. The source suggests the dream state is a key channel for receiving and processing this deeper knowledge. So paying attention to your dreams becomes really important on this journey.
Okay, moving from the inner dream world back out. Sign 5, the source discusses, is a sense of unity with all of existence. It sounds like a really big shift.
It's described as one of the most profound signs, yeah. It's about that feeling of being separate, dissolving.
So you feel connected to everything.
Profoundly connected to nature, other people, the whole universe. The source gives examples like feeling trees are whispering truths, or the wind feels like it's talking to you in a language you suddenly get, or seeing the stars not just as lights, but as part of this huge interconnected map where you belong.
That's beautiful, actually. And the article says this changes everything.
Fundamentally, you stop feeling separate or alone. It talks about feeling anchored to the cosmic flow.
Anchored to the cosmic flow.
Yeah, which totally transforms how you see life, death, love, your whole place in the universe. It's like shedding the illusion that we're all separate.
What strikes me here is how this moves beyond just individual psychic stuff.
Right. It's a complete shift in worldview and how you feel emotionally. Experiencing reality as this unified whole, which has huge implications for things like compassion, understanding.
And maybe that feeling of connection extends to how you perceive people too. Which leads to sign 6 from the source. Seeing auras or energy fields around people.
Exactly. This builds on that idea of seeing things others don't, but it's focused specifically on the energy around living things.
So what does the source say this looks like?
It describes actually seeing people sort of glow. You might notice subtle colors or fields of light around them.
Like specific colors?
Yeah, the article mentions gold, red, blue hues as examples, and it explains these are auras revealing someone's emotional state, their health, their overall energy level, according to this view.
And the source says this ability is invaluable.
It does. It suggests this gift lets you understand people's true state, like underneath the surface stuff.
Okay.
Which helps you attract positive people, high vibration folks into your life. And importantly, it helps you protect yourself from draining or negative energies.
So it's a tool for relationships.
Yeah, for navigating relationships and social stuff more authentically and maybe more safely too, creating clearer connections.
So seeing auras isn't just cool to look at, according to the source.
No, it's framed as a practical skill. It enhances your ability to connect deeply with some, but also set healthy energetic boundaries with others.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Sign number 7 the source talks about is about mental abilities. supercharged focus and explosive creativity.
Right. This one paints a picture of your mind becoming incredibly sharp, prolific even.
How does it describe it?
Like your mind turns into a lightning rod of ideas. That's the phrase it uses.
A lightning rod.
Yeah. You might find you can suddenly tackle really complex problems easily or generate super innovative solutions.
Or just have tons of inspiration.
An endless well of inspiration, basically, for art, writing, music, whatever your creative outlet is, or even just problem solving at work.
And the source ties this directly back to the spiritual awakening process.
Explicitly. It says this mental sharpness and creativity isn't just random, it's a direct byproduct of your awakening. And a sign that your soul is stepping into its full power. Like activating the third eye unlocks this hidden mental and creative potential you had all along.
So the spiritual journey isn't separate from your mental abilities in this view.
Not at all. Accessing these higher dimensions actually makes you better at functioning and creating in the everyday world, according to the source.
Okay, now, sign number 8 might seem a bit like the opposite after talking about supercharged energy. It's physical fatigue or heaviness in the body.
Right, and the source is really specific and reassuring about this one.
Okay.
It acknowledges that alongside all this heightened perception and energy, you might actually feel really tired physically. Heavy, maybe even sore for no reason.
That sounds confusing.
It could be, but the article's interpretation is key. It says, don't panic. This is your system recalibrating to higher frequencies.
Recalibrating, like an upgrade that takes energy.
Exactly. It frames the fatigue as a necessary part of the body's transformation. Your physical self is trying to integrate these new levels of awareness, these new frequencies.
So what does it advise?
Basically, listen to your body. Rest up, drink plenty of water, keep up with things like meditation, and it assures you this is temporary.
It passes.
Yeah. Once your body adjusts, the source says you'll actually come out feeling stronger, lighter, more energetically aligned.
So the key is not to mistake it for being sick or something being wrong.
Right. The source presents the discomfort as a sign the physical body is just catching up with the spiritual shifts, integrating all that new energy.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving towards maybe the more reality-bending signs now. Number 9 in the source is altered perception of time and space.
Yeah, this one describes experiencing reality in a way that just doesn't follow the clock or the map, you know?
What does that feel like?
The source talks about completely losing track of time, like minutes stretching into hours, or maybe hours just vanishing when it felt like only minutes passed.
Time distortion.
And also feeling like you've been transported somewhere else, to another dimension or location, especially during deep meditation, or maybe when you're in places the source calls sacred or energetically charged.
And what does the source say this means?
It suggests your mind is actually tapping into the multidimensional nature of reality.
Wow.
And it encourages you to embrace that feeling. It calls these altered states sacred ground, where your soul is literally expanding beyond normal space and time limits. It's like getting a peek into a more fluid reality.
So this ties back to those hidden dimensions mentioned earlier.
Directly. The source is proposing that as the third eye opens, your mind can actually perceive and maybe even briefly experience realities beyond our usual 3D world in linear time.
Okay. Heavy stuff. And finally, the 10th sign discussed in this article.
Right, wrapping up the list. Sign 10 is increased sensitivity to surrounding energies.
How is this different from seeing auras or intuition?
It's like a broader awareness of the energetic vibe around you, beyond just visuals or a specific knowing.
Okay, so like
being able to feel the energy of people before they even say anything, sensing their mood or intentions just by being near them.
and environments too.
Yeah, the source notes your body might react really strongly and instantly to different places, feeling uplifted and energized somewhere, or maybe totally drained and uncomfortable somewhere else.
And the source sees this sensitivity as a good thing, not a burden.
Definitely a positive tool. It calls it an intuitive compass for deciding who and what belongs in your space.
An intuitive compass.
Yeah, it even calls it a superpower for modern living, helping you basically curate your life, your environment, your relationships to create what the source calls a high vibration life full of peace, power, and purpose.
So it's about being really finely tuned to the energy of everything around you.
Exactly. According to the source, this final sign is about developing this really sophisticated discernment based on energy, on resonance.
So you intuitively know what nourishes you and what doesn't.
Precisely. Which connections, which environments help your spiritual path, and which might hold you back. empowering you to make choices that really support your well-being.
Wow. Okay, so there they are. The 10 intense, tangible signs that this specific source, Third Eye Awakening, Signs and Practices, lays out as indicators your third eye might be opening.
Yeah, and the article really emphasizes that experiencing these signs, or, a bunch of them together, is, in its view, a really big deal, like a call from the universe, sort of, to wake up to your full potential.
It's also important, like the source points out, that this is presented as a journey, right? Not just a switch being flipped.
Absolutely. It talks about needing patience, trust, and it mentions specific practices, too.
Like meditation.
Yeah, meditation, consciously avoiding negative vibes, maybe seeking guidance, even journaling. And it includes some crucial tips, like protecting your spiritual privacy while you're going through this. That seemed important.
Right, keeping it somewhat personal.
And the way the article wraps up is pretty powerful. It says something like, the awakening of your third eye is more than a spiritual milestone. It's a cosmic revolution within you.
A cosmic revolution within you.
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
It is, and then it speaks directly to the reader saying, trust your journey, you are worthy of the extraordinary.
That really leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it?
It does.
If this perspective clicks with you, what does it actually mean, practically, to embrace this kind of internal cosmic revolution?
Yeah, what does that look like day to day?
And if, as the source suggests, you're worthy of the extraordinary, what kind of, courage might it take to actually step into that?
Deep questions. It's definitely a thought-provoking angle from the source material we looked at today.
Well, thank you for sending this article our way. It was fascinating to dive into its perspective.
Yeah, thanks for bringing these kinds of sources to us. Always interesting stuff.
And thank you all for joining us for this deep dive.